think so. Close enough.
Number you have for John is his cell phone, right?
Yeah. Go shut it off?
I guess. It's not doing anything.
I don't look forward to that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, is that like? What's this now?
There were resolutions.
Oh.
To sign, but
Okay.
you regulate.
Sure.
Wonder one is different from the two. You guys in here. This year it was 10 minutes before and I'm like,
Yes. Right.
Very different.
I am. Yes, I
How
am.
many children do you have?
What's that?
How many children do you have?
3.
Okay, something just came up.
Boys, girls?
Said she-
My oldest is a girl, Ruby. She's 16, and then Brecken's turning 15.
Maybe when she gets back.
So they'll be starting driver's ed 2. And then my youngest son is Archer. He's 11.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm checking, there's matters that.
So you got 2 squatters and 1 squatter.
Yep. They're,
That's called.
yeah, they're a lot of fun. Good kids.
Who's the game against?
It's nice having one driving.
It's,
A lot of help.
nice track home.
We
She is, yeah. So
we
she-
were one of us was in the car pretty much every night with something. Because she's in dance in Wisconsin Rapids. And they dance every night.
County.
Yeah.
Wow.
To watch and make.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, going there.
Is your Wi-Fi connected?
Barry.
Always the most, the IT guy, always the most popular guy in the room. Good evening.
Handling the stuff for my house and my parents is frustrating enough. I don't know how you do a whole county.
Very cool.
Only one black and white in this. Yeah. 4 more trucks on the road. Yeah. 4 more breaking down. That too. I know that snow, but that was interesting delivering. Can you keep this from fading? Jesse?
How you doing, Bob?
Other than the cold and the snow, not too bad.
Yeah.
That's one way you can do it.
Yeah, cause it times out
You
after like
can't-
2 or
you
3.
can't- yeah.
No,
I had
because
a-
the company,
Be 20 below instead of just 5 or 6.
just everyone.
It's getting there with the wind chill at night.
Thank you, sir. Well, I had like 12 below this morning, and then the wind, so it was around 30, but suppose I better fire this baby up, it's cold, so.
I said to him.
I was working on thawing out some water lines out at our retreat facility and I got into the house and
How are you?
I didn't even feel it, but I had a hole in my glove and I had that where it looks like it looks like I burned my hand on the stove, but it was from the cold.
Frostbite.
Yeah.
Gonna assume it was.
Sure, we got ours hooked up. Well, they said like 20 minutes with the wind and everything. Got ours hooked up and you could get. Then a guy, I don't know, I couldn't dispute him because I never tried, but he said, if you get that way, where it's real cold and you think it's frostbite, grab a handful of snow and put it on there. Really? I ain't gonna argue with him because I don't know, maybe that's what you do. Okay, system use, you are accessing restricted, okay.
Mini electric.
I think you must.
This is the place on 21, but they're all fine.
Yeah.
Seems decent enough. Haven't got the bill yet. Haven't got the bill yet. They told us 1,800.
Then you press, the word, you get to that page.
Yeah, we had.
Which one?
This one place.
Yep.
And.
Right, and we're gonna go.
This is where, it's transfer switch, because we had one.
No, it's cold.
We had to put the automatic in. Power company came up, the morning, turned the power, and then we had it back up and running.
On?
Staff's thinking.
Megan said that you were, where she was going over there, that she doesn't. Just to say, but you were on.
Should be raring to go.
Very.
It's acting like it wants to.
It's cold. It was, I did have it charged up, so it should be fully charged.
Well.
Not Barry's here.
Everything's out by cold? Is your computer cold?
Well, it was in the house and charging, but coming here, it wasn't.
Yeah, mine right.
If you wanna get on with that.
Stuff up there. I had a hard time getting mine going until it warmed up.
Technology.
Got in, huh?
Yep.
So yeah, if you dial in by the phone,
Oh, there we go.
the password is that it's on that agenda.
Well, you can't ever resign or get out of here. You'll be screwed.
Yeah. I'm sure you'd be fine.
No, I doubt it. I just pretend I was Mike Cap and say, yes, no, yes,
Yeah.
maybe.
You think if we all protested, we could do that? She'd take all of our votes?
Yeah, what did you think?
When, if this, state map redistricting stuff goes through, that doesn't affect any of our districts.
It shouldn't, no, because ours goes by number of people.
This changes who's-
10,000 or something like that, Mark?
Basically just changes who our rep is, potentially.
Well, yeah, I could
Maybe.
change your. But this will stay the same, town government will stay the same.
Pull it out.
Where do you want me to put it? Just on here?
Man.
Man, I couldn't believe, I says, is that the same Packers that started the season out, not playing for crap?
They're looking pretty good.
Did you send him?
I did to his personal. See?
Yeah, aside from they shouldn't have ever even been able to score as many points as they
No.
did there.
I mean, it was
Amazing.
just sheer luck that they, I mean, the guys on their A game, there's no doubt about that, but man. Then when they put the subs in and they got 2 or 3 back to back, I thought, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, it was a little early.
It's crazy, but what are you gonna do? Crazy. Huh? So I was talking to a gal today and she says, don't worry, next week by Wednesday, it's supposed to be in the 40s. I says, yeah, right. No, that's what she was claiming. I said,
Next week's supposed to be in the high 30s.
is that right?
Yeah,
Bounces around like crazy.
yeah, call it for
What?
like near 40 and rain on Monday.
Oh, that'd be nice. Rain on top of this ice pack, snow pack.
Um,
No, that won't be good at all.
They heading south or west or.
I'm not heading anywhere, but
Oh.
just the drive here on 73 is,
Oh, yeah.
with, you throw some water on that, that's gonna be a mess.
That'll be nice.
gonna be here tomorrow.
That'll separate the ones that can drive from them that shouldn't be driving.
Every time I've driven in here and back, there's been at least 2 people in the ditch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You gonna be here tomorrow?
They go like, and then you hit one of those spots and
Yeah.
then if you got in 4-wheel drive, then you really go flying.
Robert.
You know what? What'd they do? I was busy talking there.
Yeah.
Wait till you get my age.
Trying to figure out if I can
Right.
miss tomorrow's meeting.
It doesn't sound very, we're just gonna go through the normal
My
stuff.
daughter's got an ultrasound and
Can't
she
fight.
asked me to watch the 3 grandkids.
I think we can make it,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right.
Think it'd be
So it's like,
Yeah.
nothing- I mean, we don't.
There's
have
no,
a field
no,
visit or
nothing to
anything.
go see. There's no meeting Thursday night or no hearings, so.
All right.
It should be, the way it sounded on the agenda, pretty.
fingers are numb.
Yeah. pretty
So
solid.
The 3 of you guys, John will be here,
Yeah.
so you'll have a quorum, so that'll be good. Okay,
So-
perfect.
Long out there.
No, it doesn't.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Give yourself a raise. Thank you again. Bye.
I can make it bigger, but I don't want to screw anything up.
No. No, don't.
No, just looking if you need to make it louder or not.
There it is. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. So we'll call the January meeting of the Share County Board of Supervisors to order. Roll call. Go ahead and use your tablets. And we have Mr. Bonfiglio and Mr. Eckstein online with us tonight. Okay, very good. Thank you. Let's stand for the silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't know, should I stand? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you've all been sent an agenda. I would look for a motion to approve the agenda. Okay, made by Mr. Urban. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Peterson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and we're sent the minutes from the December 19th, 2023 monthly meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Wadle. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Bossard. Is there any discussions? Any changes? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. Thank you. We didn't have anyone sign up for public comments. There's no unfinished business tonight, so move right into new business. With reports, our first report is the County Administrator's Monthly Report. Ms. Pingle.
Good evening. We just got done with the grand opening over at the EMS station, so that was exciting. Thank you for coming over to that. It was actually, we stayed inside because it was a little bit too cold outside. That was very well received, and if anyone wants to do a tour, they said they're more than willing to do that in the future. Hopefully they'll be able to get Theta Star. They did say they weren't coming today because of the weather, but hopefully we'll be able to get them at some other point and spend some more time there. But if anyone wants to go see any of the other equipment that they have acquired through our grant programs and some of the other things, it's really, really quite fascinating. That's why I was like walking in on time, because I was a little enthralled with all the things they can do. So today we did a government center tour with the department heads. So we went over there. I think there were 17 of us. That went well. There's still a lot going on. So we're inconveniencing them a little bit, but it was nice. They got them all everyone hard hats. Mary came. She got us some nice photos, so I sent those out. In 4 months from now, we should be moved into that facility. So yesterday we had a training day on Martin Luther King Day for the courthouse and the annex. And it was a lot about change and accepting change and moving into the building. We had different sections, and we talked about with staff questions that they have and questions that a group of us are working on to answer before we move in. We know we'll make it as smooth as possible, but it won't be without some hurdles. But I think overall it was really well received. Mary was a speaker. We had our EAP gentleman come in and talked and did some leadership training and then did a portion for the staff as well. So I hope it got well, and I hope you get positive feedback from that. Building and grounds, parks, the combination hiring, the interviews were hoped to be next week. We couldn't get them in this week, just too many collaborations of phone calls and whatnot. So I'll keep you updated on that. Also, we're working with ATC, American Transmission Company. They want an easement over on our parks line by the fairgrounds. So Ruth and I met with them via Zoom and had some questions and conversation. And I know I reported at Parks about that. I would follow up on this. What they're asking for isn't a lot more than what's already there. So it sounded more involved than what it was, but I think I'll bring that back to the Public Works, and I'm not as concerned as I was when I first got this packet of a taking basically from them when they actually said that stuff shouldn't have been in your packet of stuff. So that was good. And the only other thing to report on is I'll bring this up for buildings and grounds, is we're wondering about using the highway department sooner than later for the medical examiner. And after talking with Amanda, she'd like to move that along. And I talked with her about some challenges that I thought we had to get done first, and we don't. So we may be able to move that along sooner than we thought, so we could get the place for the body cooler and get that set up before we have to be out of over there. So I was happy to talk with her about it, and she's very open to ideas. She's very excited about having that as a possibility, and I think it would be a very good use of that space. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Melissa tonight? Okay, hear none. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Next, we'll have the Clerk of Circuit Court's Office Annual Report with our Clerk of Court, Katrina Rasmussen.
Hello, I'm Rena Rasmussen, the Clerk of Court. I'm just going to share with you a little bit about what our office has been doing over the past year. So the Clerk of Court's office is basically everyone's access to the court. We maintain all the records of the court system. This is just a listing of all of the people that make up the court system. We have 2 circuit judges, and then they each have a judicial assistant. Judge Later's judicial assistant is also the register and probate. Judge Dutcher's judicial assistant is also the juvenile clerk. And then we've got our court reporters. My office is made up of myself and my 5 deputies, who all have their own assigned caseload that they work on. And our office manages the records for the courts, the finances, the juries for the courts, and we also work closely with several different departments, such as the Child Support Agency, the District Attorney's Office, the Sheriff's Department, and the Probation and Parole Office to administer the court systems. So these are the cases that were filed this year, 2023 versus 2022 from the DA's office, by law enforcement, the zoning department, or the public health department. With the exception of the traffic citations, all of our case types in this area saw a slight increase. I anticipate that our criminal cases will continue to increase because we now have the ADA positions filled in the DA's office. So I'm hopeful that those will pick up this year. And then these are our civil case types. 2023 filings versus 2022. As you can see, most of those numbers have stayed fairly consistent as well. Our small claims cases were up this year, but everything else has stayed fairly consistent. And then we have our case types that are handled by the Register and Probate's office. These are our more sensitive and confidential cases, typically involving Corporation Counsel Zelski. All right, so we also manage the finances for the courts. We do our reports on a daily, monthly, and annual basis. When our month end is complete, we send the completed, we send the money down to the county treasurer's office and they distribute that to the state and county for us. We also collect and distribute restitution. This past year, we collected and dispersed almost $43,000 in restitution to victims. And our financial clerk, she works with probation and parole to let them know what has been paid. And then there are some people that pay to probation and they provide that information to us as well. We also collect the guardian ad litem fees and court-appointed fees for the court system. And any past due obligations that we have, we send those to the State Debt Collection Agency. They collected $184,914 or $18.76 for our office in 2023. So we also manage the juries for the courts. We send out the notices in October to create our pool for the following year. And then we send out monthly notices to approximately 60 to 70 jurors. If they receive a summons for within that month that they're selected for, they receive a notice with 2 weeks prior to the trials. And then the day of the trial, I provide an orientation for the jurors in this room, and then they go into the courtroom for the jury process, selection process, which is the voir dire process. Then we also schedule the bailiffs, provide the meals for the jury, and we have accommodations for our jurors with disabilities. So challenges that we saw in 2023 were our jury trials. Our trial numbers were actually down this year, which is good. Last year, we saw an unprecedented number of trials, which was 19. This year, we were down and only had 12 trials. However, we did have 66 trials that were scheduled. And 45 of those 66 trials, we actually sent a summons out to jurors. So when we schedule a trial and summons the jurors, it triggers several things. An email is sent out to security and buildings and grounds. Everyone gets that on their calendar. Our office contacts the county clerk's office to reserve this room. We schedule bailiffs for the trials. Then we send those notices to the jurors. If the trial is canceled, then we call each one of the jurors that has been summoned for the trial and notice them of the cancellation. We also then have to cancel our bailiffs, and it's quite a process. So in 2023, there were 33 trials where that entire process had to happen. So it is a huge expense and a burden on our office when these trials are scheduled, jurors are summoned, and then they're canceled at the last minute. So we still struggle with that. We currently have 23 trials that are already scheduled in 2024. So I'm hoping that something changes in the near future so that this doesn't continue to be an issue for us. So another issue that we've been having, continue to have, is the struggles with cases where we have defendants that are public defender eligible, but the public defender's office is not appointing counsel within a timely manner. So this is people that are They could be in custody, maybe are not in custody, but are waiting sometimes 4 or 5 months or longer for an attorney to be appointed, and their case is just dragging on. So this is resulting in the courts appointing counsel at county expense, and we're not able to be reimbursed by the defendant in those scenarios. So under regular court appointments, the defendant would be responsible for those fees, but if they're public defender eligible, we cannot collect those fees back. So in 2023, we paid almost $18,000 in attorney's fees that we will not be able to receive reimbursement for. So it's not entirely clear what the cause of the problem is. Some people think it may be the shortage of attorneys, travel concerns. Attorneys have expressed the inability to coordinate meetings with their clients when they're in custody, so they have struggles with that. So we currently, Judge Dutcher and myself, are on a committee with the chief judges and members of the public defender's office to explore possible solutions that the courts can do, come up with to help the problem. So some of the things that the attorney or that the judges are doing are allowing for remote appearances for the attorneys, so they don't have to travel so far for court, break up their day by going to West Sheriff for 1 or 2 cases. But that's something else. We're also looking at trying to come up with some kind of a standard for the jails to make things more accommodating for attorneys when they want to meet with their client. So let's just see. So some highlights in 2023, we did, Judge Blader was taken out of the statewide digital audio reporter pool, and we hired a full-time DAR reporter, Kaylee Wilson. So she is now here in Washoe County all the time, which is good for us. Also, our office has made significant strides in back scanning our old files. We started with 25,000. We have approximately 900 to go. So this has been huge. We scanned about 8,000 files in 2023. So it's a big deal that we don't have to move all of these files to the new building. I'm so, so proud of my office for everything that they've done, because that's huge, huge. And also, if you recall from my presentation last year, 2022 was a huge year of change for our office. 2023, not as much change. It was just our opportunity to develop new routines as a result of all those changes. My staff has done an amazing job adjusting to all of the changes. My family and civil clerks have worked hard to become cross-trained in each other's case types, so they're a backup for each other. That'll be helpful in the new building. If we have 2 courtrooms going at the same time, we need a clerk in each courtroom. And my 2 newer employees, the criminal and traffic employees, they continue to learn and become more proficient in their case types. And my financial clerk has done an incredible job. She's been our primary counter clerk as well, and she's been working hard to learn how to accept all kinds of different filings over the counter. So looking ahead in 2024, I do anticipate filling my open chief deputy position. I was kind of letting everything else settle down before I tackled that. So that's on my list of things to do for this year. We're also excited for the move in May. The courts have some logistics to consider that not everyone else does. Our computers and the programs that we use are all through the Wisconsin Court System Consolidated Court Automation Program, more commonly known as CCAP, a lot easier to say. Those are not maintained by the county IT department. So I've been working with Barry and CCAP to ensure that the disruption to the courts is minimal and it's a smooth transition to the new building. I've also been working with the judges and communicating with the security committee what the move is going to look like for the court system and scheduling and how, when we're going to close down, when we're going to be holding court, while we're closed with emergency hearings and bond hearings and things like that. So I'm optimistic that things are going to go well, and we're very excited for the move. So that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Yep, Melissa. Yep, go ahead.
Just so you know, with all those cases she scanned those with her own staff. Because no one else can. We can't have outside people scan in the court systems. So that is a huge savings. And so I just wanted them to know that that was all done internally, and that's a big deal.
So it's kind of fun because when we initially looked at it, I know Missy and I 3 years ago looked at what we had for back scanning, and when we actually counted what we had, I looked at her and I said, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this before the move. And so we broke it down by year, by month, by week, by day, and then our clerks, we divided it and we said, okay, this is what we need to do. This is how many files each clerk needs to scan every week. And that's where we started. And then we put our big thermometer up just so that we had a visual. We had like goals that we set. The judge cooked meals for us when we reached some goals, or we would have a pizza party or something like that. And so it's been a project, but they tackled it head on, and I'm so proud. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
I
one
think.
person and a new judge and a new the position. And
Yeah. So we're a very busy office in general. So for them to accomplish that is huge.
It
So,
sounds like an extremely busy department there. So.
yeah, for sure.
No questions then, Farina?
I've got a question.
Yes.
I think this might be a silly question, but what's the main drivers of the cancellations in the jury trials?
That is a great question. So much of what our office does is out of our control. And, there's a lot of behind the scenes things that are happening with the attorneys, communications that are happening with the prosecutors and the defense attorneys, last minute changes, offers, or in like defendants being willing to accept that offer. We had a trial this last year where they came in, we had our jury sitting in here, they came to the table and the defendant said, I want to enter a plea. And so it was this kind of, typically it doesn't get to that point. It's usually a day or two in advance, but a lot of that is the negotiating between counsel on the other end. So things that we wouldn't ever see, but we're very much at the mercy of other departments, and so we just roll with it.
Will it help any once you get these assistant district attorneys in place, will they be able to communicate?
It
a
may.
little more?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. I think I'm hopeful that it will.
I tracked it in Winnipeg. You have certain attorneys that would do it, and I mean, you're gonna have the cancellations anyway, but certain attorneys
Yeah.
can be the problem, but
Mhm.
that's a lot.
It is a lot. And, I guess at the end of the day, I'd rather have the cancellations than 66 trials.
Mhm.
But it is still, I don't think people realize, attorneys especially don't realize that even though the trial is not happening, there's still so much expense and work that goes into getting to that point and then canceling everything. So that's tough because they just don't realize that. But
Good.
so
Thanks.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Rena. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll have the report on the opioid proceeds funds with Ruth.
So we started receiving money in August of 2022. And since that time, we have received payments from the Janssen settlement, the other distributors settlement, and the Malincourt bankruptcy. All totaled to date, we've received $137,605.98. Applications that have come in requesting funding that have been approved. We have approved those, and based upon what has been approved, we have a balance of $49,682.71. Now, some of those applications that we approved are things that are not actually completed yet. For instance, we agreed that we would pay 1 month rent of sober living for up to 6 people, and we've only paid for like 1. So like there's still like 5 people left on that. We will soon be getting a bill for the last part of the recovery mentor that we agreed to fund for the Shines, to have another recovery person in town. So that's about $12,000 that's sitting in the that's been taken out of the approved balance that isn't out of the actual balance. So you have 2 sheets, and I know they both say that the same thing, and I'm sure you're wondering why are they different numbers, because when I printed them off, I didn't realize that even though in my computer they're labeled differently, they didn't print off that way. So the one where the balance is 49,682.71, that's what the balance is that we have after you take apart all of the applications that have been approved. What we actually have sitting in our bank account or in one of the treasurer's line items right now is the 67,815.96. So we have a little bit more money than what it says that we have. We have over the last year had a couple of things that were approved and then didn't go through. And so they were retracted and added back in. For instance, DHS had an employee who we gave money to go to the substance abuse conference. She is the individual who does our OWI assessments and some of the prevention planning. But then she got a scholarship from the Substance Abuse Association. And so we didn't have to use our opioid money. So that was great because then it's available for something else. And then we had an individual who was scheduled to go to the National Drug Endangered Children's Conference, but couldn't go because he was scheduled for a jury trial. And so that money was put back into our opioid account and not taken out because he wasn't able to go. So that's where our money stands right now. On the bankruptcy money, I had to file an end of the year report for 2023. That was filed last week. So that's done. We will be having a report on the other 2 coming up usually in March. And we have to file a report on that one with the state because those are also settlements that we are part of the state where the law was that the counties got the bigger percentage and the state got a smaller percentage, but in exchange, we have to file a report with them. It's a 1-page report. It asks what kind of things we're spending our money on just to ensure that we're only spending money on the things that were approved through the settlements. We have not yet received a payment from the pharmaceutical settlement. They are still finishing up the paperwork on that in that district court case. So hopefully yet early this year, we should start receiving payments on that. And then there is another case in bankruptcy with the Sacklers that the trustee is very close to determining how much of their private money they have to put in to the bankruptcy, as well as the money from their pharmaceutical company that filed bankruptcy. And so then once all of those numbers, we should start getting money from that this year as well. So that's kind of where we stand.
Ruth, none of these have a deadline of when they need to be used. They just need to be used for certain things. Is that
correct?
Okay.
Right. So all the settlements were set up that they would be paid over a certain number of years, but it doesn't, we don't have to expend the funds by a certain number of years. We can only expend the funds on the designated things related to the opioid crisis because it's all opioid based. So, you know, sometimes it's hard because, you know, I'll get like a request from Human Services and wanting money to send somebody to treatment, but they want to send them to alcohol treatment. And so this money can't be used. And so I say, nope, go find a different grant or something because it has to be like their main drug of choice has to be an opioid based drug. Otherwise it doesn't count. Or any of like the trainings that we do has to try to be to prevent further opioid abuse, things that, you know, we can use it on our, you know, sober living treatment. recovery coaches. And yeah, some of that stuff will cross over to other drugs and alcohol abuse issues, but it has to be tied to something with the opioid. So there are times when requests do get denied because they don't fit those criteria.
You were all sent a list of things that have, where it's been given. You can see it's gone to a wide variety of things. So does anybody have any questions for Ruth on this?
I've got one question. You mentioned there's 2 more settlements that are pending. Is there any more coming yet, do you know?
I think that they have one. There's one case with like some of the smaller people. So like the big ones are done. There's a couple smaller pharmacies and distributors that are still in talks. I think that those will eventually settle, considering that the ones who have the most money to lose are all settling and paying into it. But I think that for the most part, the bankruptcy settlement with the Sacklers and the pharmacy settlement that included like CVS and Walmart and those, I think those are going to be the biggest ones. So anything that we get above and beyond that will probably be smaller amounts, but there should be a little bit more even after that.
Okay, good. Any other questions?
And I would say so far, because parts of the settlements, they had also put in there that part of the money from the settlement they had a separate pot. So like, here's the money that's going to go to like the people, and here's the money that's going to go to the attorneys. And so far, they've been able to negotiate that we have not had to pay our attorneys anything out of our settlement proceeds. So that's been good news for the counties. So none of the Wisconsin counties have had to contribute to attorney's fees.
Yeah, WCA has helped quite a lot in that, haven't they?
Well, Andy Phillips has been involved. He was involved before he started his own place, Atoles, and he still is kind of involved. But there's another law firm that's doing the most of the work. Andy's been doing some of the coordination.
Okay.
But so far, we haven't had to actually take any money out of what we were awarded to pay. And so when those settlements come through, the trustees for all of it, because even the ones that don't go through bankruptcy, they have it set up through a trustee where the money is paid into a place, then that's who we send our reports to. Besides the 2 big ones, we also have to send a report to the Department of Justice, and Andy does coordinate that for us. Like, we all just send our reports to him and he sends them all in one packet. But they then will send like a thing saying, or these your attorneys, and this is your share of attorney's fees, and then you have to sign off on it. And everyone that I've signed off on has been 0 because it's come from some other pot besides ours.
Good. Any other questions? All right, very good. Thank you, Ruth. All right. Good. Okay, we'll move into item B, discussion possible motion, action items. Ruth again, letter of support for the YMCA.
So as you know, there is a group interested in bringing a YMCA to Wautoma for Waushara County. As part of becoming a YMCA, you have to be associated with another Y. You can't just be a standalone Y. And the Stevens Point area Y has agreed that as part of their growth process, this would fit in. They're looking at a satellite office in Plover, and then coming to Wautoma would fit in with that. So they have agreed that, and their board has approved it. So in addition to that, the entity that the group that has started fundraising is looking to apply for a grant. Governor Evers set aside, I think it was $50 million for non-governmental local improvement grants. That grant application is due at the end of the month. And they had asked if the county board would be willing to submit a letter of support for the Y, just saying that this would be beneficial to the citizens. And they did send out some sample letters, and then I tweaked it to add some stuff about what would be beneficial for us from our residents. And that was in your packet today. So we're just here to see if you're willing to sign a letter of support, and then that will go in their grant application. So it's not committing any county money. It's just saying we think that this is a good idea, and K-State give us some money.
Okay, very good. Someone like to make a motion to send that letter of support to the YMCA? A motion by Mr. King. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Bossard. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, you can go ahead and vote.
Mr. Cap,
Yes.
Mr. Eckstein,
Yes.
Mr. Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. All right, we'll look at the 2024 fire wardens as proposed by the Department of Natural Resources. And that was also in your packet, the three people for the fire wardens. Is there a motion to approve those fire wardens? Motion by Mr. Bossard. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Peterson. Is there any discussion? Okay, I guess they're up there too. Okay, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on that.
Mr. Eckstein,
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Mr. Cap,
Yes. Okay, the motion passes. Very good. Part C, the consideration possible action on the following resolutions and ordinances. Resolution number 01-01-24, resolution designating Waushara County Department of Aging and Disability Services as a coordinator of transportation services for seniors and persons with disabilities in Waushara County. Is there a motion? Motion by Mr. King. Is there a second? Second by
Aye.
Mr. Piaski. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, very good. You can proceed to vote on it.
Mr. Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Mr. Cap,
Yes.
Mr. Eckstein,
Yes.
I don't think you can vote.
Okay, the resolution passed. Okay, very good. Number two, the resolution number 02-01-24, acknowledgement of Julie Johannes's service to and retirement from Waushara County. Is there a motion to accept this? Motion by Mr. Wadle. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Urban. I don't think there'd be any discussion, but is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, go ahead and proceed to vote.
Mr. Cap,
Yes.
Mr. Eckstein,
Yes.
Mr. Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Okay, very good. The resolution passes. Ordinance number 683, an ordinance to amend Chapter 30, Waushara County Code, Parks and Recreation. Is there a motion to accept this ordinance? Motion by Mr. Bossard, second by Mr. Peterson. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, proceed to vote on it.
Mr. Eckstein,
Yes.
Mr. Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Mr. Cap,
Yes.
Okay, very good. The ordinance passes. Okay, and then we're just down to appointments. Number one is the Board of Health. This is for Patty Miller of Watoma. Her term is January of 2024 through January of 2026. Is there a motion? Okay, motion by Mr. Urban, second by Mr. King. Is there any discussion? Okay, go ahead and vote on that.
Mr. Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Mr. Cap,
Yes.
Mr. Eckstein,
Yes.
Okay, very good. That appointment passes. Veteran Service Commission, James Blazek from Watoma. His term is January 1st of 2024 through December 31st of 2026. Is there a motion for that? Motion by Mr. King, second by Mr. Kirschner. Any discussion on the term of James Blazek? Okay, hearing none, proceed to vote.
Mr. Bonfiglio,
Yes.
Mr. Cap,
Yes.
Mr. Eckstein,
Yes.
Okay, very good. That appointment passes. All right, then we're down to 9, the board suggestions for future agenda items. This isn't an agenda item, but in March, if we could all try and be here afterwards, I'd like to make sure we get a picture. I've talked to Mary and she has agreed to take our picture because we will be the last board that will be operating in this building for their full terms anyway. So just for history sake, if you could all make sure you're in attendance that night. So with that, if there's any other suggestions for future items, nothing? Okay, then I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So
Okay,
moved.
by Mr. Waddle, is there a second? Second by Mr. Cap. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys. I don't think the letter was in there.
March.
Good. Sharp, yawn.
Okay,
Just get you to sign that and then I'll get it scanned in and.
Have you been
tomorrow.
very
in the
good,
government center recently?
very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was gonna try and jump.
I had her
That
behind.
was the day that they went through that.
Well, you're on time then. You was early. Yeah, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Well, you can.
Yep.